Hello, Mary.
Hi, Nathan.
Hey, hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm fine. So just you and me again?
So far it looks like. I didn't connect with, usually I try to connect with Shane ahead of this, and we try to send out an email advertising what we're up to. And I have I didn't do that this time, so I will try to be more up to speed next time.
Okay.
The Let's see here. Sometimes people do drift in now in the next couple of minutes, so we'll give people a moment or two here. I'm going to drop a link in, by the way, though.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it's just us, we can decide what to do. You don't have to, put up with me about yourself. So, the document that Shane asked us to work on, and I think we got enough on the last one to close out editing. But he suggested the training slides could use a revisit. So there's a fair bit of content there.
Okay.
I think the last major update, I don't know, I think I did an initial poll together of them, and then I think the education group might have taken another pass on them a few years ago.
Oh, well, that long, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I like having time to look at it, not in a meeting.
Yeah,
So that
of
I can
course.
kind of
Yeah.
flip back and forth and see if things make sense to me.
Yeah, sure. And then here, if you'd like, I'll post I'm gonna post the GitHub link as well.
Okay.
What I just dropped in was the Google Drive version that we can just post comments on.
Okay. So you put that in the mailing list?
Oh, I put it in the comment section or the Q&A section of this Zoom here, and then after this, I'll send out a broader note though. So, yeah. Yeah. So if you want to take a look offline, that's very welcome and great. So.
So I don't see anything in the Q&A.
Oh shoot! Really? Let's see here.
Maybe in the chat.
Yeah, is that what it? Let's see. At least in my browser window, it's like looks like a little Q&A chat window.
It looks like a chat here, but since I'm not the host, it says questions you ask the host and co-host will show up here.
Okay. I know Shane's locked down a few things here, mostly because we've had some issues.
Yeah, some bombers.
Yeah, some bombers. Oh, hey, Martin, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So just Mary and I here so far. But welcome.
Hi, Martin.
Okay. Hi there. Yes, sorry, a few minutes late. It didn't pop up a reminder for me. So,
no, of course. I was just telling Mary that I was working on what we suggested us from Shane was to work on the training slides, and I'm just trying to get a couple of links through to the team here. Okay, so the Q&A, so it's only letting me send things to that's odd, only to me apparently. Here, just bear with me for one moment, and I will. Here's the chat. Sorry, somehow I missed that. Okay. Okay. Into add comments is going to be here.
Okay, now I see it.
Yep. Okay, and then. Okay.
Okay.
So the Markdown version online is here. And I do believe, and let me check here, I think there is there should be a PowerPoint version if you'd just rather look that way.
Yeah,
See.
there is.
Yeah, there's
I
a PDF
commented.
of PowerPoint, yeah.
Yeah, I commented on these like 3 years ago or something, and the changes never got incorporated,
Oh, no.
as far as I know.
Okay.
To be honest, I wasn't quite sure what the status of them was, considering we have the training course stuff, which was sort of based on it as well. So
Yeah. Sorry about that. So I think I don't know if do you have your comments around, or are they in the GitHub site? Are they in the issues?
they should have been put into the GitHub site against it, but I mean that's fine. Don't worry, don't worry, because my focus changed to the training course. Yeah, and part of the reason why I've joined is I've got a bit of an update on or an agenda item.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Would you like to start with that, and then we can dive in?
Yeah, can do. So actually, yesterday we had a UK OpenChain working group meeting. Um, the no, sorry, third face-to-face one in the last 6 months or so. So one of the things which I have been looking at is trying to put together some like bite-sized training and briefing videos. Partly driven by my own internal need, if you like, and obviously to share across the community and see what other help across the community could be as well. Anyway, the upshot of that is I'm looking to make, well, I've already made a markdown like video script of the LFC 193 training material, and I've started to record that as videos. And the current intention is that I'll continue doing those. And we've agreed a way forward with the UK working group that those will at least be uploaded to the UK working group first to make sure I haven't done or said anything stupid. And they will be kind of co-branded OpenChain and me stroke my company. And then when we're happy that they're okay, then we would release them in some sense, and that would likely include informing this group as the education work group in case there is something that you want to do with them. So basically, I'm envisaging getting a load of assets in terms of script, video, the audio, of course, could come off that, some animated diagrams and backgrounds, just to basically take the LF 193 material, which as a course is static text today, and chop it up and make it a bit more consumable and 2020s friendly rather than 1990s.
Yeah, that's wonderful news. I think a lot of our best content has come through people who have their own kind of things they're working on, but they're willing to do it in kind of the open source way and just and bring it out here for everyone. And yeah, so super appreciate that. Is there anything like you think like this team could help with? What we try to do is host like bi-weekly meetings and just get feedback on things. The current one, Shane had asked us to look through as a training slides, but if there's something I can elevate to get some visibility, I could do that. Otherwise, do you want people to, were you still seeking input on the scripts, or were you looking at, you want us to just help promote the video?
Well, I guess originally I was sort of hoping that perhaps one of the big guy companies had like resources available to them, such as semi-professional studios and possibly presenters and stuff like that, that we could just help to use. and so far nobody's stepped forward, and I need to do some training, so I'm just basically doing them videoing myself now. But I think we'll get to a point where like it's a first version that's me, and it will be however I can do it in a reasonable way that is professional enough for my internal purposes. And I say then so I'll probably do that at a chapter at a time, present it to the UK working group, and then like kind of pass it on. Then hopefully perhaps in the future people will work on better versions of those, which might be better diagrams, or taking the source videos and editing them better, or it might be a whole different presenter. So I'm not exactly sure where it will go at the moment. So I don't think I need anything right now. Thank you. I'm just giving you a bit of a heads up that this stuff is coming.
Okay. Yeah, the only suggestion I might have is just do checking with Shane and see if maybe he might be willing to do a kind of call to action and see if anyone's willing to, donate some resources, or if they have some. I assume you're talking like kind of recording equipment, things like that. If anyone has things like that available, that to help out. Yeah, they could.
Well, I know that people like Microsoft have a proper studios in their offices, and a recording expert, for example, and I imagine they also contract to professional presenters for doing voiceovers and stuff. But of course, that costs the company money to support that. But yeah, and I have been in contact with Shane. I think what we'll do now is I'll get some stuff out there, and then it would be great if people go, oh, that's not quite good enough quality. Hey, why don't we do that? Particularly if they start using the training themselves and go, well, yeah, not having Martin presenting it and having somebody else would probably be better for us.
Yeah, I mean, it could be if people see your initial videos, they kind of get an idea of what you're trying to do. They might build some momentum too. So
exactly, I'm trying to do it in a way that it will be like the building blocks. So they could take including the script. So they could just take the script that I've written and get somebody to read it out, change some of the graphics and stuff like that. So that's my intention, is to make it easy. Yeah. So yeah, if somebody gets interested and goes, hey, let's do our own version, that would be great. And it may also be that we'll try to see if some of the other countries may be interested in terms of doing it in different languages as well, which obviously won't be me.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Martin, for the news. That sounds like a great project. So just as far as today, though, I think since we have a smaller group, I think Mary had expressed an interest in kind of looking at some of this offline. Would you want to, like, Mary, does it sound good if I just kind of like go through at least the table of contents and just kind of get kind of aligned on what I think we'll do as a group, and I'll solicit some feedback on the mail list as well, and then we could maybe after taking kind of a broad push for feedback, we can go through what we've taken in kind of more detail. So does that sound like a good way to go?
Yeah, I'm not sure the best way of handling this at the moment. So from a historical viewpoint, I think the slides were the source material for the courses, effectively. But obviously a lot of changes in the text and things happened as part of that. So I think if you now look at the course text and the different courses text and PowerPoint, they're not quite the same, and they're probably also inconsistent in that sense.
Okay, so there's a bit of overlap between this and say maybe some of the Linux Foundation courses.
I think you'll find a lot of very similar structure, a lot of similar language, and a lot of the similar diagrams, but there'll be changes because, if you like, we took the presentation and then created the course, and at no point has anybody gone back to the course to make it consistent
Yeah.
And say, I really didn't know what the status of the presentation was now, since we do have the course. So it's if Shane has mentioned it, then I think that means he would like to have that presentation set up to date. But I would suggest the first pass of it is probably to make it consistent, or more consistent with the training courses.
Okay.
That'd be my suggestion.
No, actually that's actually yeah, it's super helpful to know that. And I'll say, Mary, if you know, you've been so gracious with your time, so if you know, at any point, if you want to you know, look at this offline, happy to do that. I think I do have some questions for Martin about you know, like maybe the overlap with the coursework that's out there, because I do think one way we could go about this is if there's a section about what is intellectual property, instead of redoing that ourselves, you know, it might be like, you know, best to deprecate some of our content and point toward the more like you know, produce content that the Linux Foundation has. You know, that's one way to go about it. But if are you saying this is still good, like source information as well for other things, or what would you say?
So is that directed to me?
Oh yeah. Do you think,
yeah,
like, you know, as what I was saying is like one way we could go about this is we could look at these sections and say, oh, you know, these couple sections are already covered by LFC, you know, say whatever number it is, and then perhaps deprecate these sections in favor of a pointer to, you know, the Linux Foundation course.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously I helped make the Linux Foundation course, but I'm not currently using it. I guess the reasons why I'm not currently using it is because it's just static text stuff and it just feels a bit 1990s to me, although quite honestly, for probably half of the developers, that's probably exactly how they like it. But for the other half, it won't. And the other reason that I don't use it is it requires me telling people to sign up to the Linux Foundation. And I don't want them, which is fine, it's free, but that's just me giving them something else that they have to sign up for that's, you know, requires them to register this, that, and the other. And quite honestly, I'd prefer not to do that.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not planning to use, great resource that it is, you know, I'm not planning to enforce that for any internal training and compliance. So that's why I have been looking at making the video, bite-sized video version of it, to make it more up-to-date, have it as separate chunks. I will insert here and there First Light specific bits of video or whatever as well to take it and tailor it directly to First Light. But we're not there yet. So I'll admit that actually in the last 6 months, I have actually used my version of these PowerPoint slides to do a workshop internally that covers all of this stuff. So includes all of the kind of, yeah, my tailored First Light specific versions of of the PowerPoint. Okay. So there's still some value in the PowerPoint to me as well. Okay. I don't think that answers your question, but it kind of says to me, currently, I think there is quite a bit of value in the PowerPoint, because I think not everybody will want to use the LFC 193 text, and it gives them another route to something that's immediately usable. Yeah.
And you know what, I actually think that's super helpful for me for clarity as well. You know, one of the big values I see in these slides is, and I've used it this way too, where, you know, this is all under CC0, and if you need this kind of content to help with some internal presentation, you know, if you're helping, you know, champion the open source process within your own company, and you need to explain a few quick intro details about what's open source compliance, right? These are materials you can just grab and freely use. And we encourage that. So yeah, having good source material, I think is a very important thing. So I will take back what I said earlier. I think we should focus on refining these chapters. So
I think all of the, the original efforts with the text and explaining in the course, and the subsequent recent efforts by Mary and stuff to help clarify things and tighten things up is fantastic. And I think it'd be great as a first step to kind of reflect those same sort of changes back into the PowerPoint. But it's been so long since I've looked at both of them side by side. I'm not really sure how much work it is.
Okay. So we could do a couple of things here. And Mary, I'm not sure if you're on or you're on mute. But do you want to step through some of these, or should we give some time back and solicit some feedback online, and then come back as a group? What would be your preference for today, since we have a small group?
I guess since it's just the three of us, I don't see a whole lot of, if we do anything today, we're going to redo it. When there's more people here. And to Martin's point, I have to kind of double mute here because I don't know which mute works. So sorry. But yes, I agree that we need to update these slides, because not everybody's going to use the LF training for various reasons. There's the account reason, which to me is a bit of an annoyance, but it's only one new account.
We have lots of accounts and stuff already that we have to ask people to do, because we're a small company, so we use bits of cheap software here, there, and everywhere. So it's just an extra annoyance, and you can't track it anyway. So
and the second thing is, there are people. I think we should be aligned with the Linux Foundation training. We shouldn't be saying different things. We should probably say basically the same stuff. But people might want to take, they might want to structure it differently for their organization. Maybe they have people that are very familiar with intellectual property. They don't need to go through that section in detail. They want to leave it out. Maybe they want to put it into smaller modules, or, there's countless reasons.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing before. I used to have access, or the company had access to LinkedIn Learning and a course on open source. And I basically rearranged that course and added in video course and added in bits which were, specific to our situation, or said, oh, the course mentioned this, but that actually applies to the US and our situation is different. So it allowed to chop and change, add, remove, etc., just to keep it more focused and relevant to people. So I think there's still fantastic point to the LFC course and Linux Foundation course from being there, and we should be as aligned and as close to that as possible, but in a way that allows people to add, remove, and move around.
Okay, so trying to make sure we're aligned with the Linux Foundation courses, that's a chunk of work. Because you have to kind of go through, there's probably 2 or 3 different courses that cover each one of these things and at some level of detail. So then you have to go through them, and it's a chunk of work there.
Yeah, I meant the ones which show that the Linux Foundation ones which have come from us. So that's LFC 193 and 194, I guess.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll make it easier.
Okay. Well, I think that makes sense. In that, I think the other thing alignment is kind of one goal, and I think the other, though, is kind of like simplification in terms of we're always trying to simplify things for like our, translators and just for readability and things like that, right? And it's always nice to have some things. Some of these things aren't going to really have much in terms of updates, right? And so sometimes the additional pass might be helpful in terms of just helping make sure we're expressing things in ways that land. Yeah, like, okay, so how about I do this? I'll take that feedback from both of you. I will package it up in some notes to Shane, and we'll get an update out to the community and request some feedback. So
yeah, I think
yeah,
I'll say, yeah, I haven't really looked at the slides which are on the presentation slides for a while. So yeah, I think the first stage would be perhaps for us interested parties to glance through it and think how far they have diverged from the LFC content and kind of judge how much effort we think it is. Maybe it's not that much in a lot of places, and then maybe just go through a chapter at a time in terms of the presentation and decide, how much, maybe a quick pass to make it more similar, and then improve them however we want after that.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good point. Since there's like 39 pages here, maybe I should break it down into the call for action for maybe the first half or something initially.
Yeah, and there may be some sections which aren't in those two courses either. So honestly, I can't remember. So.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I'll do that then. And yeah, so appreciate both of your time here this morning and your input. The one last note I'll make is after Shane had suggested I kind of vary the time of this meeting just so the folks in Asia can participate. And so to that end, I think his suggestion was every other meeting we'll change it kind of like we do for the main meeting. So we'll end up having one meeting a month at this time zone, and then one and more of I guess if it's Pacific time, it would be more like 5 or 6. So for Mary, it'd be a couple more hours, later than that. And then for Martin, I think Martin, where are you located?
So I'm located in the UK, so this time slot generally doesn't work for me for one reason or another.
Okay.
If I'm in the office, then I'm driving home. If I'm at home, I'm usually doing something else by now. So yeah, it's not great for me. So even having a very early UK time, which would be more Asia friendly, actually works better for me because I normally start work at 7 a.m.
Okay.
So I've been trying to keep up by listening to some of the recordings, but haven't been able to actively help very much, I'm afraid, because of the time.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. So
7 a.m. for you, Martin, is like 1 in the morning for Nathan.
Yeah, I know. I know it's very difficult. But even if it varies around a bit, that would probably help me. I'm sure there are other slots which are reasonably okay for the two of us.
Yeah.
Because bizarrely, even later night would be better for me because say it's normally when I'm driving home, you see, and that's not looking at a screen. I can listen potentially whilst driving home, but that's not going to help very much.
And and one thing I'll work on too is trying to make ways to participate in outside of the meeting cadence as well a little more easy too. So
yeah, as long as I know what's going on, for example, and say it's we're editing chapter 1, then I can do that offline, which is why I found out that you were editing the 193 course and tried to pitch in with at least my comments and suggestions offline. So yeah, I think that will help as well.
Okay. No, thank you. And by the way, we're really focused on the slides rather than I know the 193 parts I don't think we'll touch, but you're talking about just the source material for that, right? Like
Yes. Yeah. I'm just talking that and the recent changes to it, I wasn't able to help with the refresh of it. So
okay. So yeah, so 193, 194. Yeah, there's so much here.
Yeah.
So 193 and 194 are based, have come from OpenChain and are based effectively on those
Right.
original presentations.
Yeah. And keeping this up to date with, the Linux Foundation, I think it's a good ambition. But yeah, it may end up being a fair bit of work, but I'll take a pass too and look at it and see. But yeah, I think ultimately though, we do want something in our group that's it's easy for people just to pick up and kind of use, because our goal is a little different. It's to give people, let's put material in people's hands that they can just, lower the amount of work they have to do in their while they're promoting OpenChain within their groups and in their companies. So, all right. Well, thank you both. So appreciate your participation, and I will have a message out to Shane. So,
okay, great.
Yep.
Well, in that case, thank you both. I'll speak to you sometime.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Nathan.
Yep. Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Talk to you later.